Here we are back again. Tell a friend. Okay, talking Gym Teacher Dream podcast, and this is kind of our what is it? Marvelous Monday post game after the Sycamore Montini game, where we were victorious. We were unable to do it right after the game because it went late. But a great game. So we got some ideas to talk about that and anything else that happened over the weekend. So of course, via the what's our phone going to be there, Ray? We got to have a name for it. Anyway, on the phone again is Mr. Raymond Borman,
Hello.
Nation wide.
Yeah, I had to run after the game. Like as soon as that field goal went through the goalpost, I really had to take off. I didn't get to, enjoy the excitement and all the post game stuff that goes with winning an exciting game like that. So I am the reason that we didn't do the post game right after the game. But yeah, this is something we wanted to do. So thank you all for waiting till Monday for it to happen.
Anyway, so why don't you start? I know that I think first we want to talk a little bit about how we felt the pregame went, and I know that we've had a bunch of downloads and some new followers, so I think it went well, and we hope to be able to do that in Boylan. Correct, there, Ray?
Well,
Uh-oh.
since you bring that up,
Oh,
we got a busy Saturday here at the Boardman household, so I'm barring something unforeseen, I'm not going to be able to make the trip, and a live on location pregame is probably not going to happen, but we'll see. There's several days before that happens, and a lot can happen, so whatever.
okay.
What are you talking about? But no, I thought the pregame podcast was awesome, to be on location, and the beautiful weather, the atmosphere, just the whole thing was just wonderful. And then I thought it was especially, great to have some guests stop by. You had reached out to Marcus Hayes, and then just randomly Marky, like a few minutes later, was walking by, and we got to interview those guys. I thought that went, especially well. So yeah, I thought the pregame podcast was, I guess that's what you call it. I thought it went well.
Yeah, and we got there 2 hours before the game, and I felt like it went pretty quick. I mean, it didn't. Yeah, so it was cool. And like you said, the interview was nice, especially the Hayes family, a great family in Sycamore, and so we hope to continue that. As Ray said, one of our things was to be able to get out to the community as well, and have some fun that way. But like I said, it was a very enjoyable day, especially when we had more points and we broke this 6-game playoff streak against Montini. So I know I did stay, and obviously the kids and the fans and the parents were super excited, and which they very well should be. And they enjoyed this one, and hopefully now they're going to be ready for Boylan here, or preparing for Boylan. Excuse me.
Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit. I'm sorry. Let's talk a little bit about the game. What are some of your thoughts?
Well, I mean, the first thing I want to clear up, the dangers of assuming. I think everybody knows that quote and that line, but when I was, trying to prepare, my thoughts of what the game was going to be like, I didn't know anything about what my team would do this year or what they've done this year. So, I was basing it almost solely on last year, and especially last year's state championship game. So that's why a lot of my pregame focused on the fact that they utilized 2 quarterbacks. And then when you and I were seeing only 1 quarterback during the game Saturday, we did a little research real quick using our phone and Google. Thank you.
Yep, internet.com.
And we found out that the other quarterback was playing for Taft High School in Chicago, which it brings up, a kind of a sticking point with public schools in the state of Illinois is the no boundary schools. So here's a kid who, was recruited to go to Montini. I mean, there's no sugarcoating that. And maybe he wasn't getting the playing time he wanted, or maybe there were other factors, but then he transfers to, a school in Chicago. So, obviously there's issues with that. Sycamore gets to field a team with the kids that are within the school district boundaries, but these, private schools, I believe the radius is like 30 miles. So when you're talking just Lombard, which is where Montini is, the population is larger than Sycamore, so there's more opportunities for more talented kids. But then they get to go 30 miles in addition, a radius around their school, which in Montini's case, it crosses into Chicago. Once again, a very largely populated area. So, I do apologize for the mistake I made, and I made assumptions that they would once again wheel out two talented quarterbacks. But in our research, we found that, it's this open enrollment idea, what the state of Illinois calls the boundaryless schools. They just have a very clear-cut advantage, So it was great to take down Montini. But when you factor in this, the way that they recruit and the way they can pull kids from a much, much bigger pool, it just makes it all that much sweeter.
For sure. And, academic reasons why they go to those schools. So a little bit about the game. I know if anyone wants to know, Ray was super excited throughout the game, just jumping around, and you were a little anxious for a while, but when we finally got that field goal and we made two big goal line stops. I mean, there's a lot to talk about. So what's your first take
on the game?
On the game, yes.
Our defense is outstanding.
Yeah.
That's my first take. I really believe, the goal line stands, that's where the difference in the game really was. You had Montini fans and their coaches complaining about the officiating, but really that went both ways. Preston had a clear strip of the football at midfield, and the officials said it didn't happen. That if we take over the ball at midfield the way that our offense was going at that moment, I feel we drive it in and, maybe worst case scenario, get a field goal out of it. But had we scored in that moment, then we're looking at 20-0 at one point, So yeah, but I sort of went off on a tangent with the officiating, but the defense just rock solid. It was one of my things, and I don't even know where this started or came up, but all of a sudden, I myself have just this little bitty beef with Edgy Tim, because Edgy Tim's, he's all about 3 or 4 different schools across the state of Illinois, different classes, but he never really mentions or gives love to Sycamore, and sure, Sycamore, we're in kind of a small community, and maybe people outside of DeKalb County don't really know a lot about the Sycamore Spartans, but we know. We know what we got. We've seen a lot of football over the years. We sort of saw this coming. And someone like Edgy Tim, who covers the entire state of Illinois, and, some people would say he's like the football guru, he should know. Was that your phone?
That was my other computer.
Okay.
Sorry.
Yeah, I just feel like, he should know. But just a few days before the game, him and some other dude were, saying who are the best defenses in the, still left in the playoffs in the second round. And Sycamore, wasn't given love. But to get back to the question you asked, what stood out to me, I feel like our defense is one of the tops in the state.
I tell you what, Montini, we made him look real average. You know what I mean? Because our defense just made them almost change their way, and just they try almost to grind it out. Now they got a couple plays at the end of the game, some perfect passes by the quarterback, but we took away. I felt like we took away the running back most of the game. I know they had a little bit of success running like counter tray or counter back there, and that's the only really play with the running back that hurt us. I felt like we stopped a jet sweep all game. Quarterback had a couple runs, but not once again. It was more, 3-4 yards. He didn't have too many big runs, and then
just the one, I believe.
Yeah, Gavin early. Gavin was on 21 most of the time and did a great job. I thought he set the tone that first one. Got right up chest to chest with him and didn't give that guy any room on the first jump ball they threw to him. And then, late in the game, we bracketed them with 2 guys and made someone else beat us, which is what you want to do. You want to take away their best. So, yeah, I think, and I mean, we just fly around. I mean, there's times where all of a sudden, Manny or Preston, or I know JOD had a great game. I mean, guys just fly and make plays. And that, we talk about all the time that you need 11 playmakers out there in football. And we had 11 playmakers out there at most of the time.
few things that separate, an average defense, from a great defense is that, we have guys in the perimeter. You mentioned Manny. If it's an inside run, it's just like a split second, and all of a sudden this dude is flying in and making a play, and it's a Manny or it's a Gavin or whatever. Like you said, maybe it's Preston, coming across the formation, but we got 11 guys swarming to the ball, so and it's not just perimeter guys. Our guys up front do a real nice job too. But another thing you brought up is how we kind of changed the game plan, and we were bracketing the receivers late in the game. That's another thing that I wrote down, like in my notes. I liked how the defensive game plan had a plan A, a plan B, and perhaps a plan C, because they were adjusting, as they felt necessary to continue to hold down Montini, and like you said, make them look very average. So I was impressed with that from the defensive coaching perspective.
Yeah, and then my pick to click, quote unquote, was Gavin, and though he didn't make any big plays, like I said, he did a great job on the kid defensively. And so yeah, how about offense?
You mentioned the pick to click, okay, and I had said what I wanted to see was double digit carries by Alta Peter, and when you're talking wing T, typically the fullback is like the plan A. You pound with the fullback and then work your way out from there. Now, obviously, Manny is our guy in the run game. He has been all year, and he comes from the wingback position. So I get it. It's a little bit different. Manny did nice things, especially late in the game out of the slot. Grant obviously did a real nice job. Had some nice runs by Kyle, but Montini, to their credit, they did take away that sweep or whatever you want to call it after Kyle had a little bit of success. Yeah, I guess my takeaway from the offense, outside of the lack of the fullback, was just making plays when you needed to make plays. And as good as Manny was and everything, I think the one who did that the most Saturday was Grant. I know there was a 4th and 2 where Grant had to make some things happen, had to make a dude miss. There was like a 3rd and 12, where we went back to pass and nothing was there. And again, Grant made a couple dudes miss, and he goes for like a 17-yard run, and that's really a backbreaker. That's usually what Montini does to Sycamore. Sycamore gets him into a 3rd and distance, and Montini finds a way to convert. Well, Saturday it was us, and seeing it from my memory, Grant did that an awful lot.
Yeah, I mean, you don't find too many competitors like him, and he made some plays. Montini had some interesting coverage at times, and I thought that we caught him in it a couple, for time that first deep ball. Ben made a nice catch. If we could have complete, a little more on stride, he's probably gone, and that's another 6. And then the wheel route by Manny, I don't know what they were doing because they didn't run out with him at all. And Grant got pressured and threw the ball, and then I think he got hit pretty good, but threw it out there just so Manny could catch it and Manny run. But like I said,
that was a real nice football play. Like you said, pre-snap, you had talked about how I was real excited at different points in the game. That's one of them where I was yelling out, "They're not respecting Manny. They're not respecting Manny," because it was like an outside linebacker on Manny.
Yeah.
You get Manny locked up with a linebacker, we're going to win that one 10 times out of 10. And in addition to that, he wasn't like on Manny. He was like
in the middle of nowhere.
He was like splitting the difference between, the offensive lineman and Manny, who was out in the slot. So there was no way he was going to catch up with Manny almost, unless Manny was running a slant. I don't know if that's what they were thinking. But there was no help over top. Yeah. So again, in terms of this being a real nice football play, Grant identified that, takes the snap. He's under heat, like you said, but he had the wherewithal to just put it out there and let your athlete be an athlete. He led Manny. Manny, to his credit, runs the route real well, chases the ball down. And then probably my favorite thing watching the replay of that was Manny's running away from people. And, Montini, again, they recruit well. They're not recruiting slow dudes. You and I didn't get any letters from Montini, you know what I mean? But Manny ran away from every single one of those dudes that got a free education at that academic school of Lombard Montini.
Yes, he did. Yeah, and they did do a good job kind of keeping us boxed in. I felt like we didn't get outside too often. Besides, Grant making plays. I know we had Manny had the touch. Who had the touchdown? Manny had caught one also, or was that
Manny
Kyle?
caught one. Kyle caught
Kyle,
one.
yeah, that Kyle caught one on our end zone too. So,
Yeah.
we talked about 3 yards in a pot, and
Dust.
yep, and keep the clock running. I said that I
Mm-hmm.
felt like we needed some big plays to be able to beat them, and to their credit, their defense was pretty stout as well. I don't,
Oh yeah.
we had to get the big plays. I don't know if we were going to be able to just get those 3 yards and big long drive. So it was a hard fought game,
It
and
was.
it really was. And I
The
did
heavyweight
call I
fight.
did call the late field goal by Grant. I just want to
You
remind
did.
everyone.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah.
yeah, what a game! What a game! And like his defense was outstanding, just stopping him on the goal line. And I don't know, Montini must never go under center ever to try quarterback sneak or something quick, but that just gives our guys a couple extra steps to be able to step up and make hold and to fill the gaps. And that this group was the best that I could coach at the middle school at Sycamore in terms of just filling the gap right away.
Yeah.
Seventh grade, they just stepped in those gaps and didn't backpedal at all. You know anything about? Have you done your research on Boylan yet? I know you. I
I
know you. I
started
know
to
you caught.
today. To
I
be
know. I know
very
you.
honest with you, I did.
Did you? I know you caught Marmion with a win. So what do you got for us now?
Oh man. So I don't know. Again, I'm real hesitant to do this after my mix-up with Montini, and as you mentioned, I gave Marmion way too much credit. I thought they were in a much tougher conference. I thought they were more battle tested, and I thought because of that they would give Boylan a run for their money, but that was not the case. However, well, part of it is Boylan has a very stout defense, just like we do. Boylan apparently runs a 3.5 is what it looked like. Any of our listeners could go on YouTube and check it out. I also went to the Rockford Register Star. Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
And
Yep.
read a couple articles on Boylan through this season just to kind of get an idea of what they do and who their guys are and things like that. But they're very kind of like us, very aggressive, very tough defense, and I don't want to make light of what we do, but their offense does just enough type thing. They do the spread option. It'll look maybe a little bit like Montini. They'll be in the gun quite a bit. There will be a lot of motion. They'll run some jet sweep. One big difference is Montini's primary runner was their quarterback, and I get the sense just from again a couple hours of researching this, I get the sense that their quarterback just does stuff when he has to. He only throws when he has to, and he only runs it when he has to. Did have a nice game last week, it sounded like, but that was atypical. They have a couple of nice runners, one like a Manny out of like a wing or like a slot guy, with like a jet sweep or whatever, or they'll motion him into the backfield and run spread option with him. And then it looks like they got kind of like a nice size running back. I was going to say a bruiser, but he's just, when you see him, he looks like a nice size running back. So they do it a little differently than Montini, but it'll look, I think, a lot like Montini. Who else it might look a little bit like was Sterling. Sterling does like we did a couple years back, where out of the gun, but wing T principles and stuff like that.
Right.
But what I did notice from some highlights and some short clips of film is their defense is aggressive. I don't know if you remember when York was running that 3-3 or the 3-5, how you look at it.
Yeah.
We had some trouble doing.
Hold on, you're cutting out a little bit.
Years past, I know it's given us some troubles, but I think it'll be a big heavyweight fight, just like last Saturday. I could see a low scoring, ground and pound, 3 yards in a cloud of dust, and a defensive struggle.
That way we like it. The way we like it around here.
Yeah.
All right. Were you surprised with the Sterling game? Did they get beat? They got boomslagged, didn't they?
It was like 35-0 or something. Yeah, that's a boom shellacking.
Yeah.
I think is that score right? Do you?
That's what I thought I saw. Is I thought it was like what you said. I'd have to look for sure, but I thought it was kind of a whooping.
Yeah, I'm not overly surprised by it. I'll give you a couple of reasons why. Uh, what I said in terms of Marmy and Boylan, I think you could fit Sterling into that. I feel like Sterling is sort of the best of what's around their area. I think we showed them that last year where, Sterling comes in 8-0, last game of the regular season, real high on their horse, and I think they may have been ranked number 1 in the state at that time, and we put a hurting on them. So now fast forward to this year and last weekend, and a lot of that talk from Edgy Tim and all the other experts around the state of Illinois, they were talking how St. Rita's really good. So, no, I wasn't overly surprised, to be honest with you. I mean, maybe I would have thought Sterling would put some points on the board.
Mm-hmm.
Just based on some things that I heard and some things I believe, I'm not overly surprised with a multi-touchdown victory by St. Rita.
Okay. All right.
Were you surprised?
Well, I had no idea. I didn't follow it. I listened to you, and then.
No, see, here's the thing. I have no idea either, but I put out opinions like.
But you do follow it a little more than what I did this year. I will admit that I followed us. And that was it this year. I generally follow it a little more, but I did not. So anyway, so we've got in the quarterfinals, we got St. Rita and Hillcrest. Yep. You like St. Rita?
I do like St. Rita in that, but boy, I want Hillcrest to win. I think if I did my math right, if Hillcrest wins, I think we would host if we win.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas if St. Rita wins that one and we win, we got to go down to Chicago to play St. Rita.
Okay.
Yeah, Hillcrest has a real good running back that a lot of Division I colleges are interested in. St. Rita also has a real good running back. I feel like he's either just a sophomore or a junior. I don't know anything about what Hillcrest does offensively. I think St. Rita will spread it out like a Montini or a Boylan.
Mm-hmm.
But again, I don't know that
right
actually, and I have no idea what either team does defensively.
And you got Joliet Catholic versus, how do you say that? Mascota?
Yeah, I have no idea how to say it, but I think how you did is how I would say it. I think Joliet Catholic wins that one by 4 scores.
4 scores in 7 years, Chicago. And Rochester and Sacred Heart Griffin?
I see Rochester winning that one. If you look back at the regular season matchup between the two of those schools, I want to say Rochester won it pretty handily.
Okay, all right.
I'm going to use the internet real quick and try and find out for sure.
All right.
We'll go ahead. It might take a little bit.
Well, that's all right. I looked at some of the other, but I don't remember very much of anything else. I do remember the big points that were put up in 7A in a couple games with Providence Catholic putting up 61, 37, and then East St. Louis put 70 up against Rock Island.
Yeah, I think that was on purpose, I think.
Oh, really?
I could be wrong. I have no idea, but I mean, against Rock Island and then East St. Louis, I just would have to imagine that they were running up a little bit, but I could be wrong. I mean, when you have athletes like I imagine East St. Louis has, even when it's quote-unquote mop-up time, their thirds might be that much faster and that much better than Rock Island's second or third. You know what I mean? So it's like, what do? You can, if your primary offense is toss left, toss right, and your second, third, fourth dude's just faster than everyone on the other team, I mean, you can't tell them to just go out of bounds or kneel it down or whatever.
Right, because they need to play and you're probably young. But I remember in the middle school when we had a couple good teams and our fourth running back was running dive right for 80 yards. We had official get on us.
Yeah.
So that's just part of it. But I know that you know anything about the Yorkville game? I know that it was a close 9-point game, but did you hear anything about that?
Not really. I'm just because I found this. Rochester beat Sacred Heart Griffin 56-21 in the regular season.
Ouch.
Yeah,
Okay.
so I mean, I think Rochester is just the crop of everything down south, and I mean that's you don't have to be a genius to know that one.
Right.
But JCA should. I mean, if JCA wins, and if, whoever comes out of that Springfield Sacred Heart Griffith game against Rochester, whoever comes out of that, it's going to be a good game. I suspect. But you were asking about Yorkville and Willowbrook.
Yeah.
Little known fact. I don't know if you know this or remember this, but Willowbrook is where I did my student teaching.
I did not.
And then, Yorkville is just like a stone's throw away from my house for you. It'd take me about 3 stone's throws. But,
no, I got bad shoulder right now. It would take a lot. Yeah. Have to oil it up a little bit.
Yeah.
I still don't think it's going to work.
I was it yesterday? Yeah, it was Saturday at the game. I told you one of my health problems was getting worse, right?
Yeah.
My arm's in the same category. My arm's getting worse also, so I still would take you over me on that one.
Okay.
Anyway,
all right.
I didn't hear anything about the game. Yeah, I saw the score for Willowbrook Yorkville. That's as far as I've been.
All right. I didn't see the Bears game at all, so I don't have any comments. Mine would be from sports radio, and that's it. I don't know. Did you watch the Bears game?
I watched the first half.
Yeah.
I listened to the second half.
Yeah.
I think it's the same problem. I think Matt Nagy was kind of giving the middle finger to all the fans because, you heard me say on this podcast, I believe, how it seems like their best offensive production comes out of that I formation and just power football. But the very first play of the game, he ran I formation. It goes off for like 6 yards, nothing big. And then he goes shotgun for the next like 27 plays, and they never saw a 6-yard gain in those plays,
Yeah.
So, I think he ran the I formation as the opening play with purpose to kind of say, here you go, fans, here's what you get. And then he went back to what he wants to do. And
yeah.
But it's backfiring on him.
Yeah, and there was that one interview, and I forget who he had the interview with. They were talking about it on the score, that basically, he kind of scoffed at the idea that he wasn't hired to run the I formation, but you're hired to get the dub, club dub in professional ball. So you do what it takes to get the W.
And I agree. And I've had this conversation with a few people, and that's exactly what I say is, sure, maybe you weren't hired to run the I formation, but you were hired to win football games. And if I formation is what you do to do that, then that's what you do, So
think about. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. Go ahead and finish. Sorry.
No, that was it.
I was just going to say, think about all the years, of the dominance by the Patriots, and offensively, what they've gone through. The best team in the league. They were spread. Threw the ball all over, then they were run the ball, play action. I mean, they've changed it based upon the personnel that they have. That is what you should do.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, I'm not real impressed right this year. A little more last year, but still, even last year, they didn't score a ton of points.
Yeah.
Consistently.
Yeah. It just, what baffles me is how, last year he's coach of the year. And now this year, I would say he's probably the exact opposite. If there was an award for the worst coach, I think he would get that. How do you fall so fast so far?
I know it. And I didn't know, but the Illini basketball team got whooped by Arizona. It sounded like they had a ton of turnovers.
Yeah. I listened to that game. I don't have the Fire Stick like you do or whatever you got. So I was listening to it, and it sounded like a fast-paced, exciting basketball game, back and forth for the whole first half. And then, honestly, it never comes down to one play or whatever, but Arizona hit a three-pointer at the end of the first half to go up by 1. And it seemed to take some of the air out of the Illini sails. But then, like you said, it come out in the second half, and, Illini struggled to score. There was a lot of turnovers. Listening to the announcers, it sounded a little bit, or maybe it was on Twitter, I forget. But Deshaun Bailey, or however you say his name, Georgie, right?
Yeah.
He was in a little foul trouble, so he couldn't get in to sync. And I know there was a clip on Twitter where Kofi got like this phantom foul. It's like it appears as though the officials were sort of maybe picking on him for being so big. It's like he couldn't touch anybody. And
he is huge. I saw a picture of him for the first time. That dude is a big guy.
Yeah. So whatever. I mean, it goes both ways
in
terms of officiating. But they kind of Arizona started to run away in the second half. So I mean, Illini were there, but they just couldn't put it together. And so it wasn't an absolute complete blowout. It was a game for at least the first half and a little bit of the second half. But Arizona started to knock down shots regularly, taking advantage of those turnovers. And Illinois wasn't matching the runs.
Yep. It's a game of runs and holes. Well, just to keep the fans, the most important is the 7th grade middle school team. Yep, they got 2 wins. The B team remained undefeated with a victory against, once again, a very tight, intense game. And then the A game, when they won by 20-25, and didn't play real well, but it made a couple of runs to push them out. But they were solid, and got to keep growing and getting better. And they got a big game tomorrow night against Huntley.
Yeah.
And then they got Prano. So this is a big week for the old 7th grade Spartans.
Yeah. What do you know about Huntley?
Don't know. I don't know much.
Yeah.
Yeah, Prairie Knolls is going to be good. They got a couple. Prairie Knolls is pretty big Rob Rose for travel, forest ball, and we know that they got a couple of kids that can really play. So it'll be, like I said, it's nice to win. I mean, we love winning, but the games against good teams, those are what build character and build those team, build you to decide how motivated you are to get better as a individual and a team. So we don't play games for 30, the 20-20, win by 20, lose by 20. You want those tight ones. Those are the ones that you remember at any level.
Yeah.
All right. Well, it's probably about your bedtime. What is it? 8:30?
It's 8:36 according to my clock.
Yeah. Is it about your bedtime, or did you take a little gym teacher snooze?
No, I did not take a gym teacher snooze. Got up early this morning, as you can probably imagine, with the weather.
Yeah.
And I don't know how much information I should give, but I look out my windows, and we got a little snow, but the roads look fine and everything. So I get up, I get ready for the day, and then when I open the garage door to go get in my car, it was like we got an inch in that short time. It took me like maybe a half hour to get ready in the morning. In a half hour, we got like an inch of snow, and I'm like, what in the world? So the roads ended up being poor and all that stuff. But the point I'm trying to make is I got up earlier than normal. Did not get a little snooze in. So, yes, I'm in my pajamas right now. I'm not going to lie.
Okay. All you listeners, visualize Raymond Borgman in his pajamas.
And I'm going to tell you what pajamas I'm wearing. This is no lie. I'll probably have a picture end up on Facebook, but I got my Christmas jammies. It's an adult onesie because it's cold. Come home, it's cold. I'm kind of chilled to the bone. I had to put on my nice warm jammies.
McCormick, he's had a onesie type of thing, whatever you call it, overalls like that, and he wears it still. It still fits him. And that's my favorite attire. McCormick is. We know it was on when he was in his red PJ, one piece PJ. Love it.
Yeah.
Love it. All right. Well, here we are with our post game, and it was sponsored by Pickman Studios, of course. And where we got anything else this week there, Ray? We can talk about online.
I don't know. We missed Illini football, but
geez, we're at 35 minutes. But Illini football, 27 points in the fourth quarter to get a huge win for Illini football.
Yeah, unbelievable. But they're bowling. That was the most exciting thing for me.
Well, they should get a couple more wins and shoot. We're talking about go from a 6-6 bowl to 8-4 or whatever it is. I mean, that's big for Illini and the recruiting. I hope to see that.
I think so too. is, and it's different than I would think it should be. But
You're T-Pain. You're going T-Pain on me again. You working on your T-Pain microphone here for a podcast sometime?
That would be awesome. It reminds me of one of my favorite, Lonely Island?
Of course.
Skits.
Of course.
Yeah.
I'm on a boat, right? No. That's Just Had Sex. Sorry, yeah. No, it is I'm on a boat. I'm all confused now. I'm on a boat.
Dude wins a boat ride for him and two friends.
In Surreal, yeah. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, the line, I thought they were dead in the water when they lost to Eastern Michigan. You know.
I did too.
I was ready to fire Lovey, and then they go on this 4-game win streak, and they qualify for a bowl game, and man, it's just a whirlwind. I can't believe it.
All right. Well, hopefully, you find a way to fit in your schedule Saturday. If not, I guess I'll just have to watch the game. That'll be a little weird, but anyway.
Are you gonna go to Rockford by yourself?
I was thinking about it.
Okay.
So
I would definitely go. Man, alive. Jonathan's in a play, and William. I mean, both boys have indoor baseball. I think I told you about that, but Jonathan has to miss for his play, so William's got baseball. I mean, I kind of have to be at one of the places. I mean, I'd like to be at both of them.
Yeah, for sure. And that's all right. Family comes first, baby. Don't forget that.
I know.
What play do we got here this weekend?
Yeah, you'd have to ask me, wouldn't you? I don't know.
I'm glad it's you and not me. In terms of having to know, because I'd probably be in the same boat, maybe. There's a lot of things I lose sight of or I forget, so that's why we work on this Gym Teacher Dream podcast. Hey, one thing is,
I just like to be surprised,
yeah, and I hope you're really surprised, man, how good it is. Mr. Martin, the art teacher in Sycamore.
Yeah.
I asked him, and he's got what are they, characters or I gave him our picture, and he made drawings.
Pictures?
Yes, that one. Thank you. So him and Simon made some drawings.
Yeah, okay.
And I didn't get a chance to see it today, but he said it looks pretty good. So I'll take a peek, and maybe we get that, and then we start getting some T-shirts for old Gym Teacher Dream followers.
All right.
We'll throw them out at games and stuff, and
a T-shirt gun.
Yes. T-shirt gun. Okay. When we get 10,000 downloads, we're looking at a T-shirt gun.
All right. Sounds good.
All right. Well, this has been another edition of the Gym Teacher Dreams podcast, and hope you enjoyed it. And Ray, what do they need to do?
Tell a friend.
Tell a friend. Amen, baby. See ya.
Bye.